This is Ragnar from Helfro, and you're listening to Brutally Delicious.
Hey, you are listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. I am Bruce.
My name is Chris.
Wow, that was quite interesting. Today, we're going to go to Iceland. I don't think we've ever spoken to anybody from Iceland before, so this should be a treat. And these guys are heavy as hell and actually quite amazing, this new stuff. It's called Helfro. I wasn't familiar until Katie over at Season of Mist gave it to us, but I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah, it's heavy, man. It's like, it makes you feel anxiously heavy, which is good.
Yeah. And I think it's probably pretty cathartic for the time. So let's go ahead and I think it's Ragnar, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Let's go ahead and get him on the line and see what he's got to say.
Let's do it.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Sorry you had to talk to my partner. He's kind of special.
I managed. I survived.
What's it like over in Iceland these days? Is it bad over there as well?
Getting way better. There have only been like 1 to 3 cases for the past week daily. But on the 4th of May, they're going to reopen schools with limitations. But I think the wheels are going to start turning just a little bit. But the economy is absolutely fucked because we rely on tourism. And the rest of the world isn't opening up, so nobody's coming here. So yeah, we are seeing some weird economy. Yeah, just waves going on.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's
a crazy. Massive amount of people have lost their jobs.
Yeah, it's like that over here too. Kind of crazy stuff. Are you guys doing anything to engage with your fans, like taking advantage of the internet or something like that?
We aren't specifically, but some of the bands here, like Misterming, they streamed a show.
Mm-hmm.
They were somewhere in Europe, but they were supposed to play a show and it was cancelled, so they just set up equipment to stream it. So that was very smart. But for us in Helfro, we haven't been playing live anyways, so we have just been focusing on getting the streaming services noticed so people can enjoy the music in their own home.
Right, so the record's only been out like a week or so, right?
That's right. It was released digitally on 24th, and mail orders are going through, but it's not going to be in stores until June 5th. Because of the virus, everything had to be delayed.
Yeah.
Right.
Ain't that the truth? What isn't delayed right now?
Oh, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So I guess Iceland is coming up to its biggest tourist season right now, is it not?
Yes. Normally, this would be absolutely packed with people. And for my job, I have to travel a lot. I work in telecommunications, so I have to visit various transmitter sites. And usually, I'm just packed with traffic everywhere I go, but there's nobody. It's very eerie. It's like a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same here. I get on a 5-lane highway, and there's 5 lanes on either side, and I'm the only car on it.
Yeah, it's like living in one of those movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
So, how does a band like yours start in Iceland? Because the population is pretty small. So, how did you kind of get together and start the whole thing?
Well, I'm 30 years old now, so I've been in the scene for a long time, and it's easy to network in the scene. It's such a small scene, so everybody knows everybody. So as soon as you have some creative ideas, you have the contacts with so many people that might want to get in on that or something. And because I've been in previous bands, I contacted my friend Simon to do the guitars, and he's an extremely good guitarist. He's most used to playing technical death metal, so the stuff that I am writing for Helfro is just a walk in the park for him to play. So that was quite easy to get it on the road.
Nice.
Interesting. You said it's a pretty small scene there. I mean, is there places? I mean, obviously there are places to play, but most of your stuff has to be done outside of the country, or are there actual decent venues to play metal?
There are some okay venues here. It's limited. I would say there are just like 2 or 3 that are actually good because they are the right size and they have maybe sound engineers that know metal. There are a lot of venues that are just a little bit too big if it's not nice to have a concert and the scene here is small,
Right.
it's not nice to have an empty hall somewhere. So, but until maybe 8 years ago or something like that, almost no band ever played outside of Iceland. So we are very used to just playing the same bar gigs again and again and again.
Right. Gotcha.
Yep.
When you're writing though, I mean, it's the two of you guys, right? So when you're writing, is it conjoined? Are you guys writing together, or are you writing most of the stuff and then your partner picks it up from there?
No, I write everything. Just I wrote all the songs. He did some minor arrangements. Just if he had a cool idea, we would add in or change the lead or something like that. Or because I'm not a guitarist, I am a drummer. But I wrote the guitar and made tabs of them for him. He might have to change some parts to make them actually playable. But apart from that, yes, generally I just wrote everything.
So I know black metal is dark and heavy and whatever, but I still think at the heart of it, there's always some sort of message or meaning. Is there a message or a meaning you want your fans to take away from after listening to a Helfro record or song?
Not really. No, I would like them to just interpret, lyrically. They are allowed to just interpret it as they want. But I would say the main goal of the music is just to recreate maybe an emotion or a feeling or something like that we have felt before, and we're trying to just transcribe it into musical form.
And I think black metal probably, or at least in my opinion, more than any other genre, is really good at, like what you just said, getting you to feel something or getting in touch with creating emotions that that you felt deeply. Black metal is definitely a deeply felt genre, don't you think?
Yes, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head, because it's somewhat inaccessible at first, and it's hard to get into for some, but in the end, there is always this one melody or one part of a song that it seems to hook people. Everybody has their first black metal band that they ever started listening to, and it's because of this one song, and it kind of clicks. And I don't think it is because they are resonating with the message of murder and Satanism. It's because they feel this feeling inside. It connects with something. And I don't know if it makes any sense, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's how I see it.
So, did you guys record this record on your own, or did you go to a studio to record it?
We recorded partly in Studio Emissary, which is a very, very prominent studio here in Iceland, and it's responsible for a lot of the good stuff that has been coming out.
Is that the studio that Sigur Rós owns?
No, it's an Irish/Icelandic man called Stephen Lockhart who runs it.
Yeah.
And we recorded the drums. Well, it's like a mobile studio, because we actually just recorded the drums in my living room.
Oh, cool.
Simon just recorded the guitars and the bass at his home with his home equipment. And then it was mixed and mastered by the aforementioned Stephen Lockhart.
Amazing. Yeah, as a recording engineer, I always want to kind of understand, the process that went into making the record, because oftentimes when you're recording, you go through so many different emotions while you're tracking it, that sometimes a song can take a different life on than it did when you were writing it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in order to make the drums sound okay at home, for instance, I spent a while. I bought some insulation for just to insulate walls when you're building a house, and I wrapped them in some sheets and hang them on the walls. We were trying to get the warm sound, because just to record in my empty room was a little bit, well, I wouldn't know the English words. It's just like fussy, I guess.
Lots of echo.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of pre-planning, and we had to figure things out. But you mentioned the Sigur Rós studio. I recorded there before other albums, and it's actually just 5 minutes away from my house.
Oh, wow.
Very, very enjoyable experience to record there.
Well, it's kind of a neat place, because it's kind of over the creek, if I remember it correctly.
That's right. Yeah. Have you been there?
No, I was researching studios a long time ago, and it showed up, and I was like, I had just heard Sigur Rós, and I saw them live in Vancouver, Canada, and I was like, oh, I wonder where they record, because they're from Iceland, and I don't know of any studios there. So I went and looked, and I was like, this studio is crazy. It's like built over a creek. They have like a vintage Neve desk in there. It looks.
Oh wow!
It looks huge.
The location is very inspiring. There's literally like a small river that runs underneath the house, but the building itself, it used to be an indoor swimming pool. So when you are recording, you're sitting at the bottom of the empty pool.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. But Bruce, do you have anything?
Yeah, so what is shoot, I've been doing this today a lot. I've lost my train of thought again.
Yeah, we were all prepared half an hour ago. Just kidding.
So here's my question. I mean, how does, and actually after we're done with this, I have another quick question for you, but how do you think that being in that environment of nature affects what you're writing? Because I think if I'm right, black metal has a strong connection to nature. Is that correct?
For some, I would guess it's different between the bands and where they're coming from. I guess like some of them coming from an environment of this kind of urban hell, which can also be inspiring, you know. But it's definitely very influential for me. Like I said before, because of my day job, I have to travel a lot, and I find myself in nature completely alone a lot of the times. And, you know, if you're feeling any kind of somber emotions, or you recently broken up or whatever, it gets like extremely magnified when you're,
right.
Because especially here, there are no trees anywhere, so you can see like far distances in every direction, and you feel just very small and insignificant. And yeah, it's a special feeling that I tried my best to transcribe into music.
Because I think like a lot of the, and I could be wrong, but a lot of the bigger or more well-known black metal bands come from like cold, stark environments, right? Like Emperor and Gaul and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, but just like before, I think there are strong scenes in many weird places as well. I mean, Greece has a very strong black metal scene, and they're probably quite much warmer environments than here.
Right, right.
I know personally a guy from Tenerife, and they have a very, very, very small but dedicated black metal scene over there, and that's a completely different environment. It's just like a tropical island.
So does the music, does it come out differently? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. I don't know if I could put my finger on the differences that stem from the environment, you know, but it's more, you know, generally, like, or relatively speaking, the black metal scene in any country is small compared to maybe a hip hop scene or whatever. So
sure,
I would say people just influence each other a lot.
Okay.
Very cool.
What do you guys have planned? I guess we have to wait out this whole thing, but what do you have planned after this? You said you don't tour much, so you're just going to get right to writing again, or?
I'm already writing.
Already writing, excellent.
I'm thinking about doing some just exclusive shows. I don't think we're going to go for tours or anything like that, but if we get decent offers for festivals or something like that, we'll play them. I have applied for some as well. But mostly I'm just excited to write more music, and I would like to reinvent Helfro for the next album and do it a little bit differently. See if, just come up with a new challenge to write something interesting.
Cool.
Do you find it? Go ahead, sorry.
I was wondering, how did you guys get hooked up with Season of Mist?
So there's some metal festival here in Iceland, and a lot of foreign bands have come through the years, and also just PR people and whatnot. So they had like a panel where you can go and listen to these people tell you about the music scene and give everybody tips.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this Michael Barbarian, the owner of Season of Mist. He was at one of those panels at this festival. And I didn't attend it because I was drunk. So I messaged him later and said, "Hey, remember me from that panel? I was totally there. Please check out Helfro." And he did.
Nice.
That's like the best story ever. And you said it so calmly. You're like, "Well, I didn't attend because I was drunk, and then I went up and I lied to him and told him to check us out." And he did.
He meets so many people. I'm sure he wouldn't remember it anyway. But
oh, sure.
Oh, that's funny.
People just get mad if he ever hears it, because probably way too many people are sending him DMs to Facebook. You're supposed to go some official route, but I just sent him a message.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, that's what works, right? He gets so many of the official route. You may have stood out.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I just felt that the music definitely belongs at Season of Mist. Like, most of my favorites band are or have been in the past signed to Season of Mist at some point. So it's just a no-brainer for me to at least. I never even checked any other record label. I sent like a few generic emails to other labels, but just to the info at whatever.com.
Right.
This is the only real person that I got in contact with.
Well, that's great. Chris, you got anything else?
I don't, man. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yep. Be well. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the interest and thanks for your time. Okay. Bye.
Cheers, man. All right. Bye.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.